Okay, so we are almost, excuse me, we are almost there with the first pass of the entire film. We've got one tiny little scene to take care of now, and there isn't even any dialogue. We are pretty much just looking up here on the script. Wayne and Jasmine, that's the trainer, are now in a traditional bakery. Wayne stands in front of the counter, da 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 da, and that's just kind of the punchline at the end. Now, the only difference between our edit and the script is that this line here, "You've come too far to throw it all away," that's actually going to be in this final scene in the cafe. It's not going to be in the exterior kind of park out here. So that's the only difference we're going to make. Again, actually diverting or kind of making something slightly different from the script is always justifiable. It has to tell the same story, but it doesn't have to be, assembled exactly as written. Like I said, you don't want your film to be a literal interpretation of the script, to quote Red Letter Media again. So let's take a look at this. Now we've got another scene transition here. And the way we're going to go about this is we're actually just going to cut from one scene to the next as though nothing's happening. We're going to cut from this scene to the next as though it's just a continuation of the exact same scene. So actually the change in location is almost incidental at this point, right? So what I want to do is I want to find a close-up of Wayne looking at one of the cookies. And now we don't worry too much about the audio here. The only thing we need is the dialogue, so... So we need to think. So he can look there at the bar. If you look at some of the wides, we've got the dealer. She actually works at the bakery trying to sell sugary treats to people anyway. Okay, these all pull into CUs. I don't like any of these. And that's of the trainer. Wide of Wayne. Now, because we're kind of building up to another kind of dramatic peak here, I don't want to cut back to a wide, so I want to use the close-up. And I think I like this one. And I want him... to look at the trainer like he's been spotted, and then when he looks back like that, there we go. I want to put that in here, and I'll shift F12 that onto the end. So if we look at the way this is edited,
Wayne, what about all your hard work?
and then it's just carrying on as though nothing has changed at all. There'll be a bit of a jump in audio here, but we'll worry about that later on in the audio mix. So now, there's some more important stuff in this scene. We need to take a look at the wide. Here we go, here's the dealer back here, and I think in one of the takes she actually tries to hide from the trainer. But in this one... So what I want to do is I want to do what we call a cut on action. And I want to cut as... Oops, what am I doing? I want to cut as he's looking around so that the action appears to be completed in the edit. So now if he looks back up, we appear to complete him looking up as we pull out to the wide. That's a nice way to cover a jump from two angles when the difference in zoom is quite extreme. So again, we can take a look at the timing of that later on, but I quite like the way that's going. So next, what else have we got here? Well, we have... Who's the blue shirt? Where is he? We have blue shirt cheating on his exercise regime as well, and that's a nice little extra bit to put into the gag. So I think what I want to show next...
What about...
So he's been caught being guilty as well, so I quite like that.
all your hard work?
Now, the actual syncing up of the audio sync is fine here, but where she says the line is a bit awkward. And I want to have more control over that, so I'm probably just going to bring video down from one of these takes.
Worth it, Wayne? What about all your hard work? You've come too far.
Okay, we're not going to focus on his response too much because, like, we've seen him once before. Who cares about this character, right? He's a nice little bit of background detail to help out the gag, but if we start focusing on his emotional reaction, like, where has he come from and why are we suddenly paying him attention? So we're not going to make anything out of this kind of... It's a nice expression and a nice delivery, but his character doesn't matter here, so we're only going to give him a little bit of reaction time.
What about all your hard work?
And we'll cut in
What about all your hard
just a little bit there.
worth it, Wayne? What about all your...
And what I'm going to do, I'm going to uncheck the chain. I'm going to get rid of that audio. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get rid of just the bottom track, which is the radio mic on the trainer, and I'll leave the... Okay, I'll get rid of the other one. Generally speaking, it's a hard, a hard surfaced enclosed space. It's echoey. There's an electric whine. We're going to replace the vast majority of audio in here that isn't dialogue, so we're not worried too much about there being a bit of a blank space down here for now. So we've got blue shirt. The next thing I want is probably a wide of the trainer. So...
What about all your hard work? You've come too far to throw it all away.
Okay, that's all right.
Far to throw it all away. You've come too far to throw it all away now.
Okay.
Hard work. You've come too far to throw it all away.
That's a bit... That's like she's talking to a child. I don't quite like that delivery.
You've come too far to throw it all away.
Again, bit condescending.
Your hard work. You've come too far to throw it all away now. Away. You've come too far to throw it all away. Work. You've come too far to throw it all away.
I like that. That's more serious. That's more urgent. I tell you what we may be able to try, and this may or may not work. I'm going to get...
You come too far to throw it all away now.
Yes, 'cause she says now, but maybe...
You come too far to throw it all away.
Who knows? Sometimes this works. This probably won't, but sometimes this does.
You come too far to throw it all away.
So I'm going to put just the video down here, and I'm going to take the audio from this take.
To throw it all away. You've come too far to throw it all away. Here will earth the starfish. You've come too far to throw it all away.
This sometimes does work. Bear with me. Let's see.
You've come too far to throw it all away.
If I want to zoom in the viewer up here, I just scroll and then middle click and drag.
You've come too...
Get rid of that because it's just a bit of echo.
You've come too far to throw it all away.
Now you see that works, yeah?
You've come too far to throw it all away. You've come too far to throw it all away. You've come too far to throw it all away.
That looks pretty good, and it's a wide, which makes the mouth harder to read as well. So what we can actually do is get a better audio take in there. Oops, what am I doing?
You've come too far to throw it all away. You've come too far to throw it all away.
And now we've got a much better audio take in this line. Now, I'm sure lots of you are looking at what I just did and going, oh, what is he doing? That never works. On very odd occasions, you can get away with this. And you typically get away with it, obviously, on wider angles where it is harder to make out the face. One of the reasons why we might choose this wider angle is because we don't want to go to a close-up just there, but actually we get a lot of malleability with replacing the lines from the audio with the audio from another take. Now, caution and discretion is advised. Test it. Be ruthlessly honest with yourself about whether or not you believe this works, okay? This still needs a bit of timing help.
You've come too far to throw it all away.
It's very close. It's not perfect. It is very close. So in the second pass, we're going to iron that out. But for now, this actually works. I think that's good, and that gives me my favourite audio take and the angle that I want to use.
Throw it all away. Hey.
So next, what we want to do, in actual fact, let's just take a look at this.
You've come too far to throw it all away.
I tell you what, I don't really like Blue Shirt being there. I'm just going to click and drag him over here. I'm going to turn the magnet back on, so snapping is back on. In fact, tell you what, that's the wrong way to do that. I'm going to click on the empty space and hit backspace. And then also here.
You've come too far to throw it all away.
Now the timing of that's a little bit awkward. I think that's a better reaction because now some drama has actually started between these two. It makes more sense that this guy would then start looking at what's going on with some level of disbelief. So again, iron the timing of that out in the next pass. I tell you what I do want to do now is I want to link these two clips together because at the moment if I move one I leave that audio behind. So I'm going to click and drag to select the two clips, right click and choose link clips. Now they both move together as though they're video and originally synced audio. So later on when I start using the trim tools that I want to use, I'm not going to get a problem with this clip not responding, and this could actually interfere with our trim tools later on. So if you have done this, do make sure that you have linked the clips yourself. Otherwise, during the second pass, you'll find certain tools just stop working and you won't be sure why. Okay, so that's very important. So the next part of this is basically just Wayne passing kind of an awkward look around. I need to get a close-up of Wayne. So I want him to go from looking at the trailer to looking at the dealer. So there, that's good. So I want to avoid this awkward little head movement here, and I don't want to cut in whilst that's happening either. That's a bit awkward. And then down Cookie, Nessa, and there we go. And then I'm going to want the close-up of the dealer. I should have a medium of the dealer behind the cafe bar. Okay, let's see what else I've got. Okay, I like that look. I really like this actress. She gives really good facial expressions. And I like that kind of disbelief, kind of, what have you brought into my place, kind of. And I want to, there we go, before the eyes move away, we'll talk a bit about eyeline in the next, or during the second pass as well. And then we'll just do an insert edit here. And maybe that's a little bit abrupt. And then I want Wayne to get the look back again. And look at the trainer. So there we go. I might be able to let that breathe for a little bit, but again, second pass problems. Cool, and then the final shot is a very disappointed close-up. And I like that little head tilt at the back here. Cool, and then there we have it. So let's just take a look at what we've got here.
You've come too far to throw it all away.
And then there's a very imperious, disappointed look coming from the trailer. I keep on calling her a trainer there. So with this, we've now got a first assembly of our edits. We've got things in roughly the right place. There's a lot of audio to be done. There's a lot of ironing this out. We've kept it to a single track. So we're going to have to go over quite a lot of, I'd say advanced, but intermediate advanced stuff in the next set of lectures in the next module, which will be the second pass of our film. So I really hope you've enjoyed this so far. I hope you've enjoyed working with this material. I think it's a really nice little film to kind of, cut your teeth on and really start to learn the craft of editing. So in the next module, we're going to start really looking at our advanced editing tools. We're going to take a look at how we get the timing just so. We're going to take a look at working with more than one video track. We're going to take a look at working with all kinds of stuff. And we're going to reach picture lock by the end of the next module. So click on through to the next lecture once you're ready.